Greetings, YouTube! The Doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And we are going to go through our second subclass of the new Pugilist classes that come out, the Hand of Dread. So, not one of my favorite out of these. There's 6 different subclasses that we're getting. It's not my least favorite one. My least favorite one is the Dog and Hound. This one has some similar problems than that, so we're going to go over this. So let's talk about it real quick. And it is the Hand of Dread Dabble with Dread Powers. It's kind of a mix between a Warlock and a Pugilist. I guess that's a thing. So it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. This one makes the least sense out of all the subclasses for the Pugilist itself. So it says, in your darkest hour, you pleaded for the strength to take what you wanted from the world, and a dread power took notice. So you make a pact, maybe because you were about ready to die, or you got in a fight, and you were on your last leg, and you reached out. And this is what you become. So we got this dwarf here. I'm going to assume this is a dwarf. And he's got these gnarly-looking demonic hands. And that is going to be our Hand of Dread Pugilist. So, as a subclass with all other subclasses, you don't get this until 3rd level. And the first thing that we get is called Black Magic. As a result of your relationship with your dread power, and I'm going to assume that's something very similar to the patrons for the Warlocks, you gain the following benefits. You get 2 cantrips from the Warlock spell list. That's why I said this is kind of like a Warlock. Constitution is your spellcasting ability, and you get a level 1 spell from the Warlock spell list. You always have that spell prepared. You can cast it once without a spell slot and regain the ability to cast it in that way when you finish a long rest. You can also cast the spell using any spell slot you have. That is if you decide to take levels in a class that has spellcasting like Warlock. So you could use those slots to cast that 1st level spell. Now, the biggest problem I have with this, and I forgot spell change. Whenever you gain a new level, you can replace one of the spells with something else. So, the biggest problem I have with this is that there are many things in the kit of the Pugilist that you want to use either your action for or your bonus action, which is going to be used for one of those spells. So if we take Hex, which we can take Hex, because it's a 1st level Warlock spell, then that's a bonus action. If we do that, we don't get an unarmed strike as a bonus action. And there are a few other things in here, like these Moxie abilities, where we can do a 1-2 punch, and we get 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. So that's a big kind of negative to that, in that we're going to be pretty action starved. That's and our action economy is going to be a little bit off because of that. You're going to have to make some choices on whether you want to cast that spell or whether you want to use some of your Pugilist abilities. Okay, at 3rd level, we also get this Hand of Dread ability called Dread Hand, which is our other 3rd level ability, and it says when you take the attack action, you manifest the evidence of your foul pledge to otherworldly powers. When you do, your limbs transform, they get a monster appearance, and something that's akin to your dread power or the dread pact that you made. You get this for 1 minute, and it doesn't take an action. It's when you take the attack action. You get it for 1 minute. Once you use this, you can't do again until you finish a short or long rest. I like that. And then there are 3 things that you can do. So you get Revenging Strike. So when you're hit by a melee attack, you take a reaction to make an unarmed strike against the creature that attacked you if it is within reach. I like that one a lot. That's a good. You only get 1 reaction per round, but not turn, round. But you get basically a free attack, and it's a full unarmed strike. And remember, Pugilists unarmed strike can be used with Pugilist weapons, and they've got a higher die of damage. Unslakable Bloodlust. When you hit a target with an unarmed strike, you can roll the attack's damage twice, and use either roll against the target. So if we are a pugilist, so let's go to the pugilist table here. At 3rd level, we are doing a D10 of damage. At 5th level, or I'm sorry, D8, and at 5th level, that goes to a D10. So what that means is, statistically, that number, the average normally on a D8 is 4.5, but because we get to roll it twice, it's probably going to go up to a 6. And when it turns into a die 10, it's an average of 5.5. That will probably go up to a 7 or 8 on average when we re-roll these dice. You add a couple to the number that you're rolling. So it means you're going to do more damage on average. It's like having a +2 essentially to damage. And then we get Whirlwind of Violence. But the first time you miss with an unarmed strike each turn, you can re-roll the attack and must use the new result. So it's a free re-roll the first time you miss. And pretty much the chance that you're going to miss is one time. If you got 3 attacks, you might hit with 2. If you got 2 attacks, you'll probably hit with 1. So you'll be able to roll the result for the other one again. Pretty good stuff. So those are not bad. Mechanically, those are not bad. But again, a lot of these are tied to actions and bonus actions because you can do unarmed strikes with both. But we're going to be doing a little bit extra damage. We're going to be hitting more, and we're going to be using our reaction. Those are all pretty good. I'm just not a big fan of this spell stuff with this class because I just don't think it's going to come up very much, or it will take away from other actions. So, at level 6, we get Deal with the Devil. You gain one of the following options of your choice. 1, not all 3. Whenever you finish a long rest, you can change your choice. So we get 3 of them. Cloak of Shadows, Mask of Many Faces, or Otherworldly Walk. Cloak of Shadows, we can cast invisibility without a spell slot, and we gain this ability to cast this after a short or long rest. So invisibility, if you didn't know, lasts for an hour. It is concentration, but that's pretty cool. It goes away if you attack or you cast another spell. So just keep that in mind. But it makes this class a bit sneaky. It gives it a little bit of utility. Mask of Many Faces. You can cast Disguise Self. I'm not really sure why we're getting that. That doesn't make any sense to me. And then Otherworldly Walk. You can cast Misty Step. And I believe Disguise Self is a 1st level spell. It lasts for an hour. It does not take concentration, and Misty Step is instantaneous. I like being able to use Misty Step. That's a good panic button utility spell. You do this without a spell slot, and you regain it after a short or long rest. Okay, a couple of utility things that are there. Invisibility could be used to get away. It could be used in coming into a combat. Misty Step could be used during or to get away. Disguise Self has a little out of combat flavor to it. At 11th level, we are getting Grotesque Growth. So when you use your Dread Hand feature, and that was this thing up here, where we're getting a reaction, a little bit of extra damage, and a reroll. So whenever we do that, we gain the benefits of the Enlarge effect of Enlarge Reduce. And what does that do? We go to the next category up. So if we're medium, we go to large. We have advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws. That's new, by the way. And we, because we're the target, attack with enlarged weapons or unarmed strikes and deal an extra D4 damage. In addition, we have a 10-foot reach. So that's pretty cool. Once we use this, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you take a level of exhaustion, which is a thing we can do as a pugilist, and we can ignore those and eventually just get rid of them. This one lasts for a minute with concentration. So the other thing is we've got a couple of spells in here, and we're going to talk about some of the warlock spells that I think are good to take with this, but almost all of them have concentration. So if you're casting Hex, you're not going to be doing this because this is concentration. And lastly, and this is kind of a redunculous power, we get Fountain of Viscera. So we take a magic action, we expend 6 Moxie points. So as a 17th level pugilist, if we come down to the table here, we have 9 of those points. So we're going to have 3 left after this, but we get rid of 6, and that means that we get rid of them to execute a creature of your choice within reach by magically burying your hand into its body and extracting its innards, essentially its heart. It's got to make a dex saving throw, which is 8 plus our strength modifier plus our proficiency bonus, which is plus 5 at this time. And if they fail, they take 100 piercing damage, and a success, they take 50 piercing damage instead. So it's 100 or 50. If they go to 0, it immediately dies, creating a stomach fountain of viscera. When this happens, each creature of your choice within the 30-foot emanation originating from you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or have the frightened condition for 1 minute. This is a pretty redunculous power. Now, I know at 17th level, most creatures that you come up against are going to have more than 100 health, but this is like mid-combat. They're going to be at 100 or less, and you blast them, and it's just going to end combat. So that's pretty cool. Or you use it at the beginning of combat. You do 100 points of damage, and they are going to get taken out very quickly in the next round. I mean, 100 points in one go is pretty awesome. Now, it's a magic action, so you're not going to be doing a whole bunch of other stuff, but you can use your bonus actions to do other stuff. So remember, the Pugilist has that option, and they don't have to do an attack beforehand. So you could use an unarmed strike as a bonus action, and you could spend Moxie, because you're going to have some Moxie left, and you could do 2 unarmed strikes as a bonus action. You're still going to have your bonus action left after you do the Fountain of Viscera. So, I mean, you could do 100 points and then do some more damage. You're probably going to be doing quite a bit. At that point, it's probably going to be another 30 or 40 points maybe. And then the rest of the party can go. One really cool thing about this is you need to team up with someone in the party that can incapacitate or do something to a creature that essentially makes its dex saving throw fail automatically. And there are a lot of things that do that. So you can only do this once per long rest. Really, you also get all your Moxie points back too. So whether you got your Moxie points back or not, you can only do this once per long rest. So pretty cool stuff. What am I going to give this class? I don't like all the spelly stuff. Some of the stuff doesn't make too much sense. I gave the Dog and Hound a C+. I'm going to give this one a B-. It's just a smidge above mid in the list of all of these, so it's going to go here. Now, I do want to talk about spells, so let's move this out of the way. I do want to talk about spells for the Dreadhand Pugilist. So, you get some cantrips. You get, I think it was 2 cantrips. Let's see here. You get 2 cantrips, and you get a first level spell. So I think there are some pretty good cantrips. Blade Ward is always good. For 1 minute, you subtract 1d4 off of attack rolls against you. That's all attack rolls. That's pretty awesome. It is concentration, so you won't be casting Hex after that. There's a few other spells that really require you to use your action. If you need a ranged option, Eldritch Blast is there. It's on the list. There's a bunch of other ones too, like Chill Touch. Not Chill Touch, but Frostbite. And Lightning Lure could be a good one too. So you can bring a creature 15 feet closer to you. Mage Hand is always good for utility. Magic Stone is always good. Mind Sliver is always another great one. It's got a range. It does some damage. And it subtracts from saving throws, because you're going to be doing a lot of stuff that causes saving throws. Toll the Dead is always good. True Strike I wouldn't necessarily use because you've got better attacks than this. So there's a few good, pretty decent cantrips. I would say Blade Ward is almost necessary for this. And then first level spells. This is the first level Warlocks list. Armor of Agathis, of course. So you get your bonus action that lasts for an hour. It doesn't require concentration. Gives you a few extra hit points, and it'll like punish a little bit. The rest of these all take like actions to do. Bane might not be too bad. Cause Fear might not be too bad. Expeditious Retreat is actually pretty good now, so you get the ability to move faster, which the Pugilist doesn't really do. Hellish Rebuke is another one of these good ones that it'll punish things for hitting you. There's always Hex. However, if you use Hex, you're using your bonus action. It is concentration, but you'll start doing a little bit of extra damage. So the first round of combat, you won't be using your bonus action for an unarmed strike. You'll be using it for Hex. But the next action, the next round that you go, you'll be doing that D6 of damage. Protection from Evil might not be so bad, but it's situational. And I think the rest of these are just either utility or action spells. But I think probably the best one out of this list here, and you're not going to... Constitution is your thing. So, you know, Bane is always really great. It is going to use your action. Hex is also pretty good because it is a bonus action. So I would say those two things are there. So all in all, again, we're giving the Hand of Dread Pugilist a B-. It's okay. There are other subclasses in this that I like better. We still got the Piss and Vinegar, the Street Saint, the Squared Circle, and the Sweet Science to go through. I do like all of those better than I like this one and the Dog and Hound, but that is going to be another video. So that is the video for today. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch everybody